First, so all this crap, most of it I haven't touched in years. A lot of it's just empty boxes that haven't gotten out of here because the recycling is so slow. Can't even get my normal recycling out. So I'm going to call fire dogs, and anything I haven't touched in years, I'll keep my toolboxes. That case will stay. Pretty much everything else out, except for the music equipment. This old bicycle, hopefully they'll find somebody for it. I can't use it anymore. So, of course, my battery I'll keep, but a lot of what's in this thing, well, these gloves are okay. But a lot of what's in this thing is electrical recycling, which is junk that nobody has any use for. It just needs to be taken apart for component parts. Alright, another ride this morning. This time I'm going to go on the westward path on the way out, so I can show you White River Greenway part that I no longer use, thanks to the Riverside Promenade having been added recently. It's not a favorite part of mine to drive on the way back. On the way out, though, it's not unsafe. It's just on the way back that I don't really like it. Okay. Now, what a difference a couple of days makes. Look at this. Where there was that great big pile of garbage, and I got a couple of shirts hanging out to dry, and all that crap is gone. And there's just a few things left that I use, some music equipment that gets stored out here, and my bicycles, and that. My old Specialized bike that did me so well for a couple of decades, I'm going to donate it, because it ought to be able to do somebody some good, and I can't ride it. I can't ride it anymore, so. Alright, here we go. Alright. At some point, I'm going to need to do a steady cam to show you what that looks like with me getting up on the bike, because I have to use the pedal assist to get up on the bike. This will be interesting to see how the trike fits into here and how I get it turned once it gets into here. Okay. So this time, instead of turning east to follow the Riverside Promenade, I'm going to turn west and follow the White River Greenway. Before I do that, this headset cam has a light on it. Let me see if I can activate that. There we go. There's the headset cam's light too. That way, maybe you can see what I can see. Because I have excellent night vision and this camera does not. Alright, here we go. This bridge has been out for 2 years. 5-year project to replace a bridge. Well, it looks like they've gotten a little ways with it. That has been very inconvenient to have that bridge out. Okay. Now I'm riding along. Not really sure. I think this is White River Parkway East is the name of the street that I'm on right now. I have to ride along it, and it's bumpy. I have to ride along it until I can get up onto the White River Parkway. And there's a little thing up here. Here it is. Now I'm on the White River Parkway, or the White River Greenway, rather. Now, for years I took this trail to work. This is an older, dippier trail, nowhere near as nice as the Riverside Promenade, considerably longer, but it's also, in the morning, considerably more populated with wildlife. And I've come across deer on this trail, which I'm very careful around deer because they can hurt you. But they seem to they seem to watch bicyclists while they can get very interested in pedestrians. Apparently, bicycles, because of the way we're shaped and the way we move, the deer think we're just some other form of herbivore. Unfortunately, if you're bicycling out in the wilderness, that's what bears and cougars also think, that we're four-legged herbivores. And so, while a bear or a cougar might not be as interested in approaching a bipedal human, they'll get very interested in somebody on a bicycle, because the speeds we move at, we start to look like prey to them. Fortunately, I'm in downtown Indianapolis, where there hasn't been a bear or a cougar sighting in a century. Although I have run across feral dogs. Wild dogs, which there's a pack of beautiful Labrador retrievers for a while that I saw, and I only ever saw them at a distance, so I knew they were wild, because they were totally uninterested in humans. Feral dogs, on the other hand, can be dangerous, because they can think that part of the trail belongs to them, and they'll defend it. Now, that used to be a problem when I was riding a standard bicycle. However, on this big heavy thing, this is a somewhat more intimidating thing for a feral dog to try to get interested in. And they tend to shy away from it because it makes odd noises and it's kind of big and scary looking, as opposed to a standard bicycle, which is more or less silent. But most of the wildlife that I encounter in the morning, I haven't seen any yet, but tend to be raccoons and possums, sometimes cats. Rabbits. Various species of birds. The geese aren't active at this time, though. I'll see the geese on the way back. Although, this time of year the geese are pretty much gone. They've headed south. The geese we have are called Canada geese, but I don't know why we call them Canada geese, because they seem to spend all summer long in Indianapolis, and they don't seem to ever go up to Canada. The trees have mostly lost their leaves by now. And during the winter, the passage back across 16th Street isn't as bad as it is during the summer, because the foliage that causes me to have problems seeing oncoming traffic when I'm coming back the other way, it's not a problem coming up this way, has lost its leaves, and so it's not as much of a problem. But I'm really glad that I no longer have to use this trail to get downtown. I've got a better option. Doesn't mean bicyclists don't still use this trail. For a while, there was a homeless guy who lived down in there, down by the river, and the dog had him. He thought he had a dog, but the dog actually had him, and that dog was one that wanted to guard the trail against me. And it was a pain when I had a standard bicycle, but when I switched to this, the dog suddenly became a whole lot less interested, because this machine's just too big for him. Okay, here's 16th Street. That traffic's far enough away I can get across. That traffic's far enough away I can get across. And here we go. Okay. They are definitely working on this road. And this is Waterway Boulevard up here. It says it's closed. It's actually closed once we get a little further down past Harding Street. But it's kind of a pain that it's closed. It's been closed for well over a year. They've been building a lot of industrial, kind of a medical industrial complex over along Waterway between Harding and Indiana Street. We go up over a nice wooden bridge here in a bit. And this wooden bridge, which I no longer go over because I can skip it. And in the winter, I'm glad to skip it because it tends to ice over and become very slick. It's well above freezing right now, so I'm not worried about it. But I have had an accident on that bridge, or just coming off of it rather. It's been 15 years, and here we go. Here's this nice wooden bridge. It's very scenic, but I'm glad to not have to use it anymore because in the winter it can get slick. Now we're coming up. This railroad track is no longer in use. And right up here is the little gravel path that I use to get up onto the White River Greenway. The rest of the way to downtown. So they've really put a lot of new buildings up over there. Okay, here we go. Maybe you see this bridge a little better. It's a really nice bridge. I don't worry too much about this bridge icing over. It will ice over if it gets cold enough, but it has to get a whole lot colder for this one to ice over than it does for the wooden one to ice over. There's quite a bit of traffic down there. Okay. This guy comes and he's the last one. I got the road to myself. And he's going to make a turn onto Porto Alegre, which I will turn at the same place to get off of 16th Street, or 10th Street. This is 10th Street. Get off of 10th Street. I gotta make sure first that there's nobody coming over this bridge here, and I can go up and back onto the White River Parkway, or White River Greenway rather. Now right along this area, coming back in the afternoon, all the doctors come out here to smoke, which I find ironic. There's usually about a half dozen doctors out here smoking in the afternoon. Although as the weather starts to get colder, they seem to spend less time doing it. Still, I'm seeing them in their winter coats all bundled up, sucking on those cigarettes. And that's how you know nicotine is so addictive, because these guys know better than anybody how bad that stuff is. They still can't quit it. Okay. Alrighty. And I've got the light. And that was Michigan Street. Now I'm headed toward New York Street. And here's these lamps that, when I saw, it's too bad that they don't come out too well on the video, because you just see these glowing orbs, but they're really quite nice looking. Maybe you can see the structure on that one. Interesting the way those lights are on the bridge across the White River there. That's the New York Street Bridge across the White River. That's the nice thing about being here. I guess it's not even 5:15 yet. If I've got an alarm on my phone, it goes off at 5:15, so I guess it's about 5 o'clock. And that's about when I like to ride. It's about 5 in the morning, and there's just nobody out on the roads. And I really have the trail to myself. Every once in a while I'll see runners out here. Pretty dedicated runners out here at 5 in the morning. If my shift doesn't start till 6, but I just kind of lounge around for about 20-30 minutes until my shift starts. Most people where I work don't get to start until 7 if they're early birds, but my boss is an ultra early bird and he starts at 6 o'clock, and so he's allowed me to do the same, which suits me just right down to the ground. I am, I guess, what you would call a morning person. I'm one of those people that drag themselves out of bed at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock, can't get going without their coffee. They look at me like I'm an alien from another planet. But I do like being out early in the morning, and since it's so early, I took off a little on the early side just so that I could take the longer trail. But I've got a little bit of extra time, so let's go ride on the Washington Street Bridge. Probably won't be able to see the sculpture there, but okay. Getting down there is the tricky part, and that involves, and this was a lot easier on a standard bicycle. It's a bit tricky on this giant monster, but I am a very skilled bicyclist. Now, becoming a skilled enough tricyclist to try that with a massive tricycle, I don't think that's going to happen for a while. Alright, here we are on the Washington Street Bridge, the historic Washington Street Bridge that used to be for cars, and now there's a new Washington Street Bridge that's about a quarter mile that way. And this has become kind of a sculpture garden, which you may not be able to see the sculpture all that well at night. I can see pretty well, but the camera can't see all that well. And then the Indianapolis Zoo and the Botanical Gardens are right down here. Some more of these interesting sculptures. I haven't seen that one before, or this one. So there's some new sculptures here, and that's kind of nice. Got stained glass in it. That's cool. An old bicycle, our tricycle, and there's the buffalo. All right, this odd little sculpture there. I enjoy these sculptures. Makes life worth living. Over here is a great big theater, the White River Park Theater. It's an outdoor amphitheater, actually, where they have rock concerts on a regular basis. Yeah, this gets fenced off so that they can charge admission. And there's a police officer there, making sure that I'm safe. Happy to see him there. Kind of an odd little sculpture. And I get headed down toward downtown Indianapolis. And that's the Indianapolis skyline. I got up here, I'm going to look back and see if that Taylor Swift picture is still on the JW Marriott. I got a picture of it on my way home the other morning, but the sun was blasting it and I couldn't see it very well. American Indian and Western art. Sculpture here. And the car's coming this way. And that's the last car coming that way. And that brings me across West Street. And now you can see those porta potties are all gone. Alright. I'm going to stop here and turn around and look at that, see if that Taylor Swift thing is still up on the JW Marriott. I'm going to turn my pedal assist off so it's safe to dismount. Oh. Nope, she is gone. Too bad. Well, it was nice having her looking over the city in her little stage performance outfit. But, you know, they put a great big picture of a football player up there during football season, and, you know, kind of nice. They just decorate that seasonally based on things that are going on. Alright, I'm going to end this here because I'm getting close to work. So, it's off.